YouTubers. I haven't done one of these in for so long. Um, so I'm just gonna talk about this. Now, I'm not gonna mention the family's names specifically, and the reason why I'm not going to is because these are probably false, and you're probably just gonna go attack someone for no fucking reason. Um, so yeah. Anyways, this story is about a 4-year-old boy who fell into a gorilla habitat and they had to shoot and kill the gorilla that had the child. All right. Seems a lot of anyone with logic would think, okay, that was a good thing. But people without logic, well, they go from, oh, how dare you kill an innocent animal, you son of a bitch. We should kill the child and the mother. Some people are saying this. Some people, there's a lot of people saying like, no, the parents should be punished. Which some people have some valid arguments. Like for instance, one of them is you need to keep more track on your child. I do agree with that, but most people who are saying that, some were parents, most of them were not parents. And I'm going to tell you right now from experience, I babysitted for so many fucking years. Once you take your eye off that kid for just a second, for just a fucking second, those little fuckers are gone. Like, you have no idea how fast a kid is. You have no idea what is going through their mind. Especially at a young age, they want to explore. They have no idea whether what's right or wrong. They want to explore. They want to see something. Granted, will I say that yes, maybe the parents should have kept? Because here's the thing: like when I babysitted and went out to public, I made sure that they're in an area that I can see them. I always held their hand to make sure they don't fucking run out to the street or run up to just some random terrible thing. I made sure of that. Were these what was she? Yeah, I will say that you should have held your child, especially a 4-year-old. I'm just gonna say that right now. You should have held your 4-year-old's hand. You should not let, especially in a zoo, because there's some habitats that don't have like a really big fence. You can kind of just zoom in, and some kids they jump down, or they fall down. They kind of look in too much and they fall in. These things happen. This is a thing that I've seen articles before. Now, people are this is my favorite thing. I love the hypocrisy in this article because let's say the gorilla did kill the child, right? And they didn't kill the gorilla, right? It's like, well, the gorilla was just acting on natural instincts. There would be articles and petitions signing to kill that gorilla. The exact people who are talking about this gorilla's life would be saying the exact opposite. They'd be saying that this a child is dead because this gorilla. They need to kill this gorilla, and that's the funny thing. That's my favorite fucking thing about people is that people who don't understand logic are stupid. They're mostly stupid. People who don't understand logic are stupid. People who understand logic seem stupid to stupid people because stupid people don't understand logic. See where I'm getting at here? People with logic are looking like the bad guys here. Am I saying that the parent should go unpunished? I mean, they really. I mean, at the same time, it is kind of your fault. You weren't paying attention to your child. But at the same time, children get away. I mean, they get the fuck out of there. And when I was a kid, I tried to get every instinct of me wanted to get away from my parent to go do my own thing. When you get to that age, you just wanna go. And most likely, the people who are like, "Oh, how dare!" Like you should have kept more track on their child. They were doing the exact same thing when they were a kid. When you're a kid, you want to get away. When you're a parent, you want to make sure, like, no, they don't get away. She probably thought it was just going to be nothing too harmless, probably thinking the child wants to get a better view of the gorilla pit, but then turns out he wanted to get inside it. And these situations sadly happen. And here's the thing. For one, I'm going to say this. Yes, am I glad they shot the gorilla? Yeah, because you have no idea what could have happened. That gorilla could have killed the child. It could have gotten enraged. People saying, oh, well, you should have tranquilized it. Let me tell you something right now. You know how long it takes for a tranquilizer to take effect on a gorilla's fucking body? Not to mention, let's not think about if it would enrage the gorilla or not. Because, well, if past have shown, yes, it would enrage the fucking gorilla. It would have. And most likely harmed the child. Granted, now this gorilla did look like it was trying to protect the child. These situations happen. But when a gorilla gets into a caretaking format, it will enrage and make sure to protect that child. Could have done a lot more harm than good in this situation. It could have done a lot more harm than good. Be right back. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Yes, it could have enraged and done a lot more damage than what it could have. Now, is this a sad situation? Yes. You know, an endangered gorilla, the species that the gorilla is an endangered species. And yes, it died. That is a sad thing. Yes. But guess what? Like I said, the hypocrisy that's coming from people who do not understand logic would be having the exact same argument if the child was to die and the gorilla was to stay alive. So that's my favorite part about this whole situation. There also would have been sparked outrage if both of them were to die. You know, the child being killed and then them having to put down the gorilla. There would be outrage trying to protect that gorilla's life, and then obviously there'll be outrage and like, no, this child needs to be redeemed, blah, 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 some bullshit like that. Like, kill the gorilla. This is where I'm getting at. There's always going to be outrage with logic and stupid people. There always is. There's always going to be outrage with it. To me, it's something that's, okay, it's a good thing this child's still alive. This child gets to live for another day. Quick thinking. Granted, it wasn't the best situation, but it's the only situation they had on there. If they were to tranquilize it, it could enrage the gorilla, which, like I said before, if you know anything about these situations where they are tranquilizing gorillas, you would fucking know it takes a while before it takes effect, and it enrages the fucking gorilla. So it could have done that. It could have enraged the fucking gorilla. But people don't want to look at that concept. Other people only want to look at the aspect like, oh, well, he just carried the child off. Right. Very true. But what would have happened after him taking that child off? You don't know. You just assumed that everything was fine. You can just assume that it's fine. It'd be the same thing. Let's say like if a tiger picked up a child by its back on the t-shirt and carried it into the cave. You're like, oh, it's just a nice, I don't know if I said lion or tiger, but like, oh, it's just a nice animal taken to the cave. No, you have no fucking clue. You have no clue what would happen next. You are just assuming something good is happening. People, that's the thing about dumb people. They don't want to assume bad. They want to assume good. And then when it's a bad situation, they only want to assume bad and not good. Anyone with logic would know that this can go south any fucking time. This shit can just hit the fan at any moment. Anyone with logic understands this, that this can just hit the fucking fan at any moment. But people without logic don't. They only see one aspect, and all they saw was a caring gorilla. That's all they saw. A stupid person just sees a caring gorilla carrying a child to what looked to be a little a cave. I don't know. So yeah. There's also, I saw someone's argument was like, oh, well, this is just sad that gorillas shouldn't have been in the habitat in the first place, which at first I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, I get what she's getting at. But yes, so a lot of people do believe in that keeping animals in captivity is wrong. I am one of those people who do think of it. However, there is good that comes out of it. A lot of times where scientists and zoos have kept them in captivity to make them breed. We make an endangered species no longer endangered, so I feel that that's kind of the benefit of it. Yeah, it's still a shitty situation. Like I said, this whole situation is shitty no matter how you look at it. Do I think the family should be punished? To an extent. I don't think they should be like fucking majorly punished. People are saying like you need to throw the mother away in prison, or like a lot of people are just lashing out that. Saying that the child also needs to be punished, right, because you've never done anything reckless as a kid. You never were curious once as a kid. No, your life was boring and you just sat in the house all day. So like I said before, do I blame the child? No, child was just curious, wanting to see things. Do I blame the mother? To an extent, you should have held your child's arm. You should have made sure your child couldn't get out of reach. But at the same time, I understand that children can get the fuck away in a split second. Like I said, I babysitted for many, many, many years. And yes, when you take your eye off them for 1 second, they're gone. I understand that whole thing. So it's a half and half for me, whether she should be punished or not. Should the zoo be punished for taking down the gorilla? No, I don't think so at all. Because if this gorilla would have enraged, an innocent life would have been taken. Granted, an innocent life was taken, which was the gorilla's. But at the same time, You got to make rash decisions like this. No matter what, there's gray in this world. It's not black and white. It's gray. It's always split second decisions. If they didn't kill this gorilla, the child could have been killed. And then what? Would you be saying to kill the gorilla? They didn't kill the gorilla? I don't know. How would you feel about that? And would you go like, oh, this innocent child's life is gone because of this? Which most likely a lot of these people in these comments are most likely going to say, if that was to be the exact opposite. But, this shit happens. Or, like I said, or it would be outrage to both of them were to be killed. Be outrage for that one. There's always going to be outrage, especially by stupid people, because, like I said, stupid people don't understand logic. They just don't. It's something that just doesn't comprehend with them. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about today and rant about. I haven't done a rant video in so long, so, yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about this situation? Do you think the parents at fault here? Do you understand how easy it is to lose sight of a child? Because if you do, then you're obviously someone who either babysitted or has a kid yourself. I don't know. Do you agree with them killing or not? Them shouldn't killing the gorilla. Do you think that also tranquilizing it would work? Because again, if you're someone who has knowledge of how gorillas work, you'd probably disagree with the whole tranquilizer thing. I know I'm making these whole things and I'm making them seem very condescending, but this is kind of how this is supposed to be for these people who believe this stupid shit. To make it seem condescending, because it's really meant to be. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed.